what's going on, guys? Chris Chavez here with Phandroid.com. Today we're going to be taking a look and unboxing the OnePlus 5. But not only that, I'm going to kind of just sort of cover some of the specs of the device and just give you some of my initial impressions. So this is what you get when you buy a OnePlus 5. It actually comes in two different models. You have a 6GB, 64GB model for $480, and then for $540 you get the 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, which is absolutely out of control. So this one right here is the 128GB. OnePlus was very nice of them to send it to us, along with a couple of cases that we'll take a look at as well. As far as what's in the box, it's pretty much your standard stuff. If I can get it out of there. Got this nice little postcard showing a shot on the OnePlus and a little message from the co-founder of OnePlus, Carl Pei. And then sort of just the dash charger, which is easily by far the best fast charging technology that we have available today. This is by far the best. Basically, it just regulates all the heat on the little adapter, the wall adapter itself, and not on the device. That means you can use the phone. Unlike the Galaxy S8, you can continue using the phone while the screen's on, while you're playing games, while the phone's getting hot. It doesn't matter because it's going to continuously fast charge, and that is just super amazing. Yeah, so that's all there is in the box. Nothing too crazy. Kind of covering the specs here. You have an AMOLED display. It's 1080p, so it's not super, none of the quad HD stuff that you might be used to on a lot of devices these days, but you can't even tell the difference. You cannot see a single pixel on this thing, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. We kind of talked about the RAM and whatnot. You have USB Type-C on the bottom, the speaker, which sounds a little rattly, not necessarily the best. It comes in two colors. This is the slate, it's like slate gray and super black. So you get the black or like kind of a more gunmetal grayish color. The camera's in the back. That's kind of like the newish big feature of the device. A lot of people are kind of complaining that the phone is sort of just more of an incremental release from the OnePlus 3T that we saw last year, and then they skipped the 4 completely because apparently it's a bad luck number from wherever they're from. But yeah, so dual cameras. You get a 20 megapixel or 60 megapixel f1.7 lens, camera lens there. There is no OIS, so that's kind of a big deal for some folks. But I mean, I've seen phones that have OIS and it doesn't really do anything to help them. So not necessarily the biggest deal. And then you also have a 20 megapixel 2x zoom telephoto lens. So it's able to, just like the iPhone 7, can zoom in up to 2 times, which is kind of awesome. And then of course there's also a portrait mode effect, just like Apple's, that sort of simulates a sort of shallow depth of field. I used it in the bathroom and it was kind of awesome on a soap shampoo container. Yeah, just so you know. You also get the alert slider, which is sort of a unique OnePlus feature. Allows you to quickly silence or put in priority mode just by moving that, which is awesome. Volume rocker, LED flash, no glass back, which I love. It's kind of nice to just feel a nice metal phone again, and super thin. 3,300 milliamp hour battery inside, which should last pretty amazingly well from what I've read. Yeah, so that's kind of what you get. Blazing fast fingerprint sensor, blows away the Galaxy S8 in that regard. So there's just a lot to love here. There is a few things that you might not like. So I've just been playing around with the phone, and there is sort of a weird, I guess they call it a jelly effect. So it's kind of weird because the display itself is very quick at following your finger. It's great. Track your finger. The screen touch latency is super minimal. The problem is that the UI sort of does this squashy, wobbly thing, and this is actually something that I saw back a while back in the day on the Droid Turbo 2, or Droid Turbo, the original Droid Turbo. And I sort of mentioned it back then. A lot of people thought I was crazy. Nobody saw it, but yeah, now it's sort of manifested itself here. So I don't know if they're using just the same display panels that were maybe on that device, or what's going on. I've heard some talk that, you know, only some of them suffer from it, and it has something to do with like the display being inverted. All these different weird speculation and stuff, and OnePlus just says it's kind of built that way, and that's just the way it's supposed to look, and it kind of makes it look cool. I would have to disagree, especially when looking at photos. There's the soap bottle I told you guys about. So when I kind of move it like this, you can kind of see there's like it's almost like rolling shutter. It's kind of wobbling around. And then it also does the same way when you're scrolling, I mean, up and down as well. You may not notice it at all, but, you know, it's sort of interesting. Actually doesn't really bother me too much. And it's possible it could be fixed in a software update at a later time. So let's just go ahead and look at some of the cases. These are still made by EvuTech, which is an amazing, my favorite case manufacturer. And they typically only do stuff for the iPhone or Apple devices. But somehow OnePlus managed to get them to do their cases again this year, and I love them. By far, they're like the best cases for me because they're super slim, but they still provide adequate protection. They kind of changed them up this year because it's nice and hard, but they have like a TPU little rubber area that goes around, so it does protect it from face down drops, or maybe just, you know, that lay on table design, so they call it. But I kind of like the old ones, which were just snap-on cases, and it left the tops and bottom exposed, but I know a lot of people don't like that stuff, so it is what it is. And then we also have like the slate gray one, which is like a rough sandpaper finish. Then you have a couple different wood ones as well, oak and maybe cherry wood or something. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and be reviewing this in the coming days. I'm kind of excited because this thing seems to be a performance beast. Snapdragon 835 processor, 8 gigabytes of RAM. It's amazing. I mean, you cannot compare something like this to a Galaxy S8, where the price on this is cheaper. They're beating the S8 by like $100, probably more, depending on where you buy it. And then you get way more performance because on the Galaxy S8 you get 4 gigabytes of RAM, but the phone barely even uses that. The aggressive RAM management on the Samsung devices is so ridiculous that, yeah, it's not. you can't match this. So I'm gonna be playing around with this. Expect more from the OnePlus 5 in the coming days. And with that, I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm Chris Jobs at Phandroid.com. Thanks for watching. So long.